Alright guys, welcome back to this learning module. Today we're going to talk about the function of using mapping load together with ApplyMap. Alright, so let's create a new app here and I'm going to call my app ApplyMap. Right, now let's click on the create button and let's open the app. Now let's go to the prepare drop down here, click on it and let's go to the data load editor. Right, once we are here, let's create a new section and we're gonna name it apply map. All right, so first of all we're gonna load in our mapping table, right? So I'm gonna say map. All right, now let's add in a semicolon and let's enter a new line and let's add in mapping and we add in load. Right, now let's enter a new line. Right after we have entered mapping load, let's add in a square bracket, end it with a semicolon, and let's hit on enter to get into a new line. So within the square brackets, we're gonna add in our first column, which is our mapping key. All right, so what we're gonna do in this mapping load table is we're gonna map the date column to get the year column in our fact table. All right, now let's enter a new line here. For our date column, let's add in a few dates here. I'm gonna add in 1st of January 2022 and let's add in a comma to indicate the next column within the table, right? So the second column will be the year column, right? So I'm gonna add in 2022 and let's copy this record here and I'm gonna paste it over into 3 new records. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna change the month to February and this will be March and the last record will be April. Right, now because we are using an inline load table, we're gonna add in mapping load all the fields from inline. Okay, so this is our mapping table here, and right now we are going to create our fact table. All right, so instead of using mapping load, we are going to use the ordinary load syntax to load everything from the inline table right below. Right, so I'm gonna add in date as the key to map with our mapping table, and I'm gonna add in value. Right, so I'm gonna do the same like how we did for our mapping table. I'm gonna add in 1st of January 2022 and the value to be is 100. All right, now I'm gonna copy this record here and I paste it over into 3 new subsequent records, right? And right now I'm gonna change the month to February, March and April. Right, now to use the apply map function here, let's add in a comma and we're gonna say apply map. Right, so right now let's hit on the tab keyboard function and right now we can see all the parentheses required in the apply map function here. Right, so we need to add in the map name, which is our map table. Okay, so I'm gonna enter a single quote here, add in a comma, and within the single quote I'm gonna add in the map table, which is called as map. Right, now for the second parenthesis here, we are going to add in the key to map with our mapping load table. This will be our date column. Right, so I'm gonna add in date column here, and for the rest of the records that is not mapped in our table, we will map it as not indicated. Right, now to showcase the third parameter here, I'm gonna add in a new line and I paste it over. I change this to May. All right, now let's rename our apply map function to year. Alright, because the apply map function here is to map our date column with our mapping table here to get our year column and to be added into our fact table, right? So now let's run this code here. Let's close the window here. Let's go to our sheet. Let's hit on the edit sheet button on the top right panel. Let's go to charts and let's go to our table object. All right, drag it into the top left corner here, drop it right here, and we're gonna add in all the dimensions into our table, right? So I'm gonna add in a date, and I'm gonna add in a year, and also the value, right? So let's enlarge this to the maximum, right? Okay. Now let's click on done editing. All right. So now what we can see here is for those records that is available in the mapping load table, it will be mapped against our fact table to have the year column to be mapped into our fact table. So for the records on May 2022, we do not have these records in our mapping table. So it will be recorded as not indicated, right? So if we go back to our load editor and take a look at our mapping load table, we only have the records from January right until April. So for the records on May, it will be listed as not indicated at our year column. Alright. Now because this is a mapping table, once the script has been reloaded successfully, this table will be dropped automatically by Qlik. Alright. So if we look at the data model, we will only have the fact table. Alright. So now let's take a look at our data model. And yep, we only have our fact table in our data model. The mapping table will be dropped once the data reload has been successfully executed, right? So now let's go back to our data load editor. And what if we remove the mapping keyword here? Let's try and see if there's any error prompt out, alright? Now let's try to click on load data. And here Qlik will throw out an error. The map ID is not found, alright? So in order to use apply map function, it has to come in parallel with our mapping load table, right? If there's no mapping load table, even though we have the map table loaded in right on top of our script, Qlik does not recognize the map table as a mapping load table. So the apply map function wouldn't work. Alright? Apply map function will only works when there is a mapping load table included in our script. Right? So now let's hit on close window. And we're gonna add in the mapping again. And let's reload our data. And let's close this window. And yep, this basically covers the basic knowledge on how to use apply map together with a mapping table. Alright? So yep, that's all for the lesson for today. Thanks for watching this video and I can't wait to see you in the next module. Thanks and bye bye.